Today we are asking a simple question. Does Pierre Poilievre has leadership qualities to be Canadian Prime Minister, or is he another stonemason? What is a stonemason? A stonemason is a trade, mostly in the past, where someone sculptures or shapes the stones that are used in a building structure. In today's world, that is predominantly done by machines, but in the past, there used to be that trade. Why am I saying stonemason? Let's go back in history. Canada was founded on July 1, 1867 by these four provinces: Ontario, New Brunswick, Quebec, and Nova Scotia. John A. Macdonald becomes its first prime minister. Fast forward to 1873. In April 1873, a scandal broke out that John A. Macdonald had taken a bribe of $300,000 from a man called Hugh Allen, a shipping magnate, in exchange to build Canadian railway. Some of his cabinet ministers were implicated in this scandal. This amount, 300,000. One of the history website equals this amount to about 15 million today's Canadian dollars. 15 million of today's Canadian dollars. In November of 1873, Macdonald resigned, and a liberal by the name Alexander Mackenzie, a stonemason, the leader of the Liberals, becomes Canada's second prime minister. A stonemason. This is a man who had built his political career just like Pierre Poilievre on attacking the government. He becomes the prime minister. A year later, an election is held, gets a landslide. He wins an election. But 4 years later, this man proves to be a horrible prime minister, and another election was called, and then John Macdonald, the first prime minister, again leads his party to victory, becomes the prime minister. And they kept on electing him until his demise. Should be somewhere around 1891, of which he suffered a stroke, which he never recovered. Alexander Mackenzie, he stepped down, was pushed aside as the leader of the Liberals, probably what is going to be done to Pierre, and then he continued to be a backbencher in the House of Commons until he also suffered a stroke, died of a stroke. Why am I saying that Pierre is another stonemason? We are going to explore the style, his politics, what makes him comparable to this man here, Alexander Mackenzie, a stonemason. In fact, this man had a trade. Pierre has never worked. He's a career politician. He's a university dropout. He has written frivolous petitions to the Queen, asking the Queen to remove the governor. He claimed that then the Governor General had supported Quebec sovereignty. But if we go back again in history, we would find that Canada's third prime minister, a man by the name John Abbott, who became Canada's third prime minister. The first one was John Alexander Macdonald, and the second one was Alexander Mackenzie. And the third one, John Abbott. John Abbott had actually supported a document known as the Montreal Manifesto. This is the document which wanted to sell Canada to the Americans, that Canada should join United States. And the document did not get enough support. People wanted to remain a sovereignty nation. But John, when he became the prime minister, he was asked by a reporter that you wanted to sell this country to the Americans. His answer was, nah, I was young and foolish. He supported the document Montreal Manifesto when he was at McGill University in Montreal. This gentleman was a lawyer by profession, John Abbott. But Pierre wanted to remove the governor just because she had supported Quebec sovereignty. Quebec sovereignty, to go into why it is there, would be beyond the scope of this video. But there is a book which I want came across, originally written in French and translated to English. Historically, there are reasons. I can't remember the exact title, but it's The Road to Quebec Sovereignty. It gives why the movement of Quebec sovereignty is there from a historical perspective. Let's look at the brand of politics. What makes Pierre Poilievre brand of politics not being suitable for being the Prime Minister of Canada? for being the leader of this great nation, this G7 country. Poilievre's brand of politics thrives on being the loudest, angriest voice in the room on government, on institution, or rallying against This politics can be summed up with one word: politics of rage, or politics of anger, or as is generally known within the journalist circles, tag dog politics. This and interview and social media post have scornful, sarcastic, antagonistic rhetoric. Pierre frequently responds complex issues to very complex issues affecting this society, affecting this with overly simplistic reaction rather than thoughtful and measured solution. Topics such as inflation, crime, housing, Pierre thrives on blaming us without offering any constructive solutions, and he reduces the complex issues to partisan talking points. It is the liberals. Oh, Justin Trudeau. I overheard him on trade and I think on this quagmire of tariffs which Canada is currently facing from Mr. This man, he was saying, oh, it is the liberals' policies over the years which has put us into this situation. But Canada as a country had been entrained in a situation of over relying on Americans for its export market for decades and decades. The Auto Pact was signed back in 1965. Brian Mulroney signed the first free trade agreement, and since then Canada has been exporting 80% of its export to America. That means exposing it to the whims and caprices of American regime, both contemporary and the future. The situation has been created for decades and decades before this young man was even conceived. To simply blame it on Justin Trudeau. How old was Justin Trudeau back in 1989? His confrontational demeanor veers into rude attacks, mockery, to score cheap points rather than engage in a substantive debate. I once posted a video where he's mocking Justin Trudeau and his cabinet. His aggressiveness appeals to his base, but it alienates outsiders like me, like other nice people. Poilievre relies on rage and anger and avoid details how he is going to govern. He doesn't give details. I always watch his YouTube postings. There was his recent video which I watched was like he was sitting in a restaurant and there was a woman across. His camera shows the woman a little bit and it focuses on him, and he's talking about someone working like 2 jobs and also helping a family farm, working 2 jobs to make ends meet. He was talking of a woman who is both a teacher and a waitress, trying to make ends meet. All this is because of the inflation caused by the liberals printing more money and blah, blah, blah. Canada has serious issues. We have housing, we have health care, we have climate change, and yelling and mocking, posting videos mocking Justin Trudeau's cabinet does not solve them, does not solve this issue. Pierre should know. Right now, we don't know how Pierre is going to govern. We don't know his vision for this country. And no one knows. Might point to himself and say, yeah, I moved the party forward, I get more seats. No, Pierre, you lost the election. Makani did not win the election. You lost the election. Because here in Ontario, where I am talking to people, they were yearning for a change. If the right conservative leader had come across, there was going to be a change. Of course, they were fed up. The Liberals have been in the government since 2015. They were yearning for a change. There was a desire for a change. There was a craving for a change. And you lost this election to a neophyte, as I said in my other video. You lost this election to a newbie. You lost this election to a tenderfoot. You lost this election to a tyro. You lost this election to Johnny Come Lately. Canadians wanted a change, and you deprived them of that change which they were looking for because they couldn't trust you. You have never articulated your vision for this country except attack dog politics. All the liberals, everything, all the liberals. Justin Trudeau, oh Justin, it's Justin, oh it's Justin. Canada has serious challenges, ladies and gentlemen. We have housing, we have healthcare system, we have climate change, and all these are serious issues. But yelling and mocking others and posting videos about mocking Justin Trudeau and his cabinet does not solve this. Do not tell people why they shouldn't vote for that. Tell people why they should vote for you. That's what people want to hear from you. You haven't demonstrated any leadership qualities. Canadians deserve better. Anger does not build consensus to address national issues. Canada's diversity, which is graphic, cultural, political, requires who can bridge and foster collaboration, not exacerbate polarization. Attacks on institutions like the Bank of Canada, like the judiciary. During the debate, he kept on attacking the judiciary. They are letting out people. They are letting criminals. He wants to use the charter to override the judiciary. Pierre, a university dropout who wants to be a better judge than judges themselves. People who have spent years in law school. He thinks it's better than trying crimes and people with the training in trying crime. Pierre's attacks on Canada, the judiciary, and the media, constant attack on him weakened the foundation of democracy. The bottom line, Pierre Poilievre has mastered the art of rich-based politics, which is fundamentally flawed approach to leadership. His antagonistic demeanor and lack of substantive solutions reveals a politician who is more interested in tearing others down, like the video mocking Justin Trudeau and his cabinet, rather than building Canada up. Canada doesn't need a leader who thrives on division, outrage. It needs a leader who unites people, thoughtful with complex issues, offer real solutions, leadership that requires more than being the loudest voice in the room. It requires empathy, willingness to work collaboratively, progress. Unfortunately, these are the qualities Pierre Poilievre has not demonstrated. Canada deserves better. Leader should be about trust, fostering collaboration, and creative vision for the future of the country rather than cheering us down. Thank you for watching this video. Hit the subscription, crush the subscription button, subscribe